the slip pocket and the zip pocket for the inside. Right, so you're going to need one main outer piece, which I have interfaced on the wrong side. Not outer piece, start again. So you're going to need one lining piece, which has been interfaced. And you're going to need your two slip pockets, which have both been interfaced. I'm going to pop the two slip pockets right sides together. Sew along the straight edge 3/8 of an inch. Turn it right side facing out, give it a good press, and then top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from that fold. Okay, so with your lining main body right side facing up, you're going to get the now sewn together slip pocket and top stitched along the edge. Pop that right side to right side, so I've obviously picked this as my lining side of my slip pocket. Pop that to the right side of that. Clip all the way around. Okay, and the next thing you need to work out, and this bit is optional, is how you want to divide this pocket up. You can leave it as one large slip pocket, or you can divide it up. I'm going to just divide it up in the centre, so I've got two slip pockets for carrying like hair straighteners and shampoos in the one side. And then I'm going to reverse my stitch at the start a few times on the top of the folded part of the slip pocket, and then I'm just going to base stitch around this edge here with a longer stitch. Okay, so now you've done the slip pocket, you're going to put that to one side and we're going to work on the zip pocket. So I've got one body lining piece which I have interfaced. I've also found the centre and creased it vertically. I've got two zip pocket lining pieces which have both been interfaced, but one of them I've gone a bit further and found the centre, top and bottom, and given it a good crease down. This will help us when we do the pocket lining up. You've got your number 3 zip as well that you're going to need. So from the centre top of your body piece, you're going to measure down 2.5 inches. Okay, then you're going to get your pocket lining piece and flip that so it's right side facing down and wrong side facing up. Match up the two crease lines, the centre creases, and make sure that top edge of the pocket lining is right next to the actual quilter's roll, and pin the pocket lining into place. Okay, so from the top of the pocket lining, this edge here, you're going to measure down 1 inch, and then you're going to draw an 8-inch line in the centre, so that's 4 inches either side of the centre crease. Okay, then from that drawn line you're going to measure down 3/8 of an inch and draw another horizontal line parallel to the one that you've just drawn. Okay, then you're going to join up the two ends. Then you're going to measure in to this rectangle box 1/2 inch in either side, and draw a vertical line on each side. And then you're going to find the centre of that centre bit, so you can eyeball that really, to be fair. So Then from that centre line up to these two corners, top and bottom, you need to draw a triangle. And then repeat it on this side. Okay, so the outside of the box, the main outline of the box, is where we're going to sew. The lines inside the box, the rectangle, is the lines that we're going to need to cut into after we have sewn all the way around. So I'd just like to add another pin, so stop it from flapping around. Okay, so it should look something like that. And I'm going to sew only on the outer edge all the way around. Now make sure you reverse your stitches at the start and at the end. I'm going to use a stitch length 2.5. Okay, so now I've sewn all the way around. I'm going to cut through both layers of fabric in the centre on that centre line. So I generally just fold it and snip into it to start myself off. Now I can get my scissors in. I'm going to cut up to the first triangle point, and then I'm going to flip it around and do the same with that one. And then from that triangle point I'm going to go as close as possible to that stitch line in the corner. You've got to try and get as close as possible. Alright, so when you turn it out, you will have some major creases in it. Okay. Then you're going to go from that point of the triangle to the other edge of the corner. Okay. Then you're going to repeat the same. Okay, so now I've snipped into those corners. You should have like two triangles sticking out and a gap. You're going to basically push this line in through that turning gap to the wrong side of the main body. I like to give it a good finger press first to help it along. So you're going to go to your eye and give this a good press. I normally press from this side first, so there is no creases in this part here, in these corners here. If you get creases on the lining side, that's no big deal. That could happen, and that sometimes happens with me. And you just basically roll in it so the seams are nice and neat and flat. Okay, so that's nice and flat on both sides. So working on the lining pocket side, you're going to run quilter's tape along the top edge and the bottom edge on the two long edges of the box. Okay, so you're going to peel off that backing tape off both of those pieces. Then I'll just push that to one side and you get the zip. Now you need to put the pull on the left or the right depending on how you want to open up the bag. I'm a left-right person because I'm right-handed and it's easier for a right hand to open left to right. You're going to get your pocket piece, flip this over and pop this over the zip, lining up the zip in the centre of that hole. And once you've got it straight, stick it down. Yes, my zip is overhanging, we're going to trim that back. Okay, I'm going to bring my zip just into a bit. Right, so we're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch all the way around to make the zip sewn into place. Make sure you reverse your stitch at the start and at the end, and use a stitch length 2.4 to number 3, depending on how thick this feels to you and how tight you don't want your stitches to look. Okay, so now you've sewn all the way around, you're going to flip this over and trim off this excess either side. Okay. Then you're going to get the other pocket lining piece, leaving this facing the way it is. And you're going to get the right side of the pocket lining and match it up to the right side of the other pocket lining, which has got the zip attached to it. Then you're going to pin, pulling the 2 layers away from this main outer and pin it into place. Now you're going to do the same down the other sides as well, and along the base, making sure you're not pinning the main outer lining body piece. Okay, then you're going to flip it over. Okay, bring your zip into the center because you don't want to catch it when you're sewing this zip pocket together. Okay, so when you're at your sewing machine, you're going to move this part of the lining out the way and sew 3/8 of an inch away from the edge, making sure you reverse your stitch. Then you're going to flip this up, sew across, sew up. When you get to here, you're going to readjust this part, this lining of the body, sew across up to the top, and then you're going to flip this down and then sew across here, and then reverse your stitch at the end. Okay, so now we've finished the zip pocket, and it's a working zip pocket. You can put things in there. Okay, I'm going to snip into my centres just so I can know the next steps. Okay. So the next thing you're going to do is grab the bag that you've already made, the outer bag, and pull out this lining piece. You're going to bring the lining piece to the right side, so it's going around the bag, like so. Open it up around here. Now it's creased at the moment, we're going to iron it once we've completely made the lining part of the bag. Okay, so inside the bag, I know this side here is my front and this side is my back. I want this to go on my back, so, and I know this is my back. So I'm going to flip this over and work kind of back to front. We're going to push this part of the bag inside there as much as it will go, like so. Then you're going to get this edge of the lining, just the lining, and bring it up. And then you're going to run your fingers all the way around here and bring that up so it is the right side facing in. Okay, you've got your center top of the lining on the gusset top and the center bottom of the gusset top. You're going to get your pocket with the zip on and flip that over and match up the center of that and clip. And you're going to do the top centers and clip. Then you're going to pull the lining You're not touching this part of the lining, you're only touching this part of the lining, and you're just going to clip all the way around. Now I'm going to speed up the video footage of it. Okay, so I have stopped there. I'm going to take that centre clip out. I need a turning gap for when we birth the bag, and I always like to have that on the side that the zip pocket is. So I've left a decent enough size gap at the bottom, about 8 inches at the bottom of a turning gap. So you're going to go to your sewing machine, flip this over so it's onto the flat of the bed of your sewing machine. And you're going to just move the bag away from where you're sewing, and you're going to sew, starting here, reverse your stitch and sew all the way around 3/8 of an inch, or as close to 3/8 of an inch as you can, all the way around here. Keep going all the way around, moving this bag out the way, and then finishing where that final clip is, and give that a good reverse back stitch. I'm going to use a stitch length 2.5. Okay, so I have sewn this part of the line into the bag, so we need to just roll it back so it's right side facing out. Like so. Then we're going to flip the bag over, bring out that bit that we pushed up inside. Okay. Then we're going to flip it back, push this part that we've made the lining on inside, roll it up inside. Then you're going to grab that lining that's from the back piece and bring that up. Like so, bringing your hands all the way under, and flip the base gusset. Okay, and then you're going to grab the one that's got the slip pocket on and find the centre top and the centre bottom. Then you're going to pop this right side to the top gusset and match up the centre. And then you're going to get the base gusset, bring that down, you're going to get the base gusset right side to the right side of the body lining piece, and pop those, pin those together. Then you're going to clip all the way around. And this time you're not going to leave a turning gap. Now I've done this side, go ahead and do that side, and then I'll tell you the next step. Okay, so now you've clipped all the way around, you're going to flip this over, take it to your sewing machine, have it the flat side facing down on your sewing machine, and you're going to sew 3/8 of an inch all the way around. You're going to be moving the pocket, the bag and the lining that's already attached out the way. You're going to do 3/8 of an inch all the way around using a stitch length 2.4, sorry. It does get a bit fiddly, so just get your hands in and mush it out the way. as you go all the way around, and reverse your stitch at the start and at the end, and this time you are sewing all the way around. Okay, so we've got that now sewn together. So the next thing we're going to do is start making the complete bag as a finished bag. So what you need to do is move in the complete lining, including the pocket, and get your hand just up inside so you can pull out one of the zip gusset pieces that is attached to the zip gusset lining piece. Then you should have already that one on the opposite side. So we're going to work on the one side first. So what we're going to do is pinch the seam here and bring up this seam and this seam together, matching up the centres, and we're going to clip. And then you're going to push that in there and do that corner. And then you're going to push this corner in here and bring those two seams up as well. Okay, so now let's just make that. So now I've done that, we're just going to run some clips around there. I'm just going to push that in and go a bit further around. You want to at least get from just where the corner starts to where the corner kind of finishes. Okay, and then you're just going to basically clip all the way around. And remember, you're only getting the two seams, sets of seams together. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is go over to our sewing machine and we're going to sew, reverse our stitch here and here at the end, and we're only going to sew on the seams. So we're basically basing the lining piece and the main outer piece together as one piece. Okay, so we've done that, we've attached it, and as you can see I just sewed within the seam allowance all the way around to where I did the clips to. So we're going to repeat the same process on this side, and then I'll meet you back. Okay, so we've now got this side attached as well as this side attached. You're now going to go through that turning gap that you left in your actual lining bag and turn the bag right side facing out. Get your hand up inside, push out any of those corners on the base area. And then what I'm also doing is getting up inside where we've sewn those two seams just together. Okay, on both sides. Then we're going to push the lining up inside and push out the corners. Okay, so my lining's quite fresh and neat and not got many creases in it. If you have creases on your lining, you need to turn it the wrong side facing out, so that's a lining facing out, and give it a good press. However, mine's actually perfectly okay, actually, to be fair. There's no major creases in it. So the next thing I'm going to do is pull the lining just back out, and we're going to close off that turning gap. So you can never pull it out too far, because remember we've attached the seams on both sides. So you're going to just basically tuck that in. You can give this a really good press and basically either machine stitch it or hand sew it closed. It's totally up to you. I'm going to be lazy and machine stitch it. And I'm going to machine stitch it using the stitch length number 3, and I'm going to reverse my stitch at the start and at the end, and I'm going to sew about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. Okay, so I've closed off the turning gap. I'm going to push that back inside, give it a bit of a manhandle to make sure all the edges are pushed out. And then my advice is go ahead and stuff the bag with some bubble wrap or some leftover packaging from deliveries that you've had. Okay, so we're going to practically finish off the bag for this tutorial. However, I will explain now. The crossbody strap is a standard crossbody strap that I actually implement in all of my patterns, sewing patterns. So up in the corner, you'll see a little eye in a circle. Click on that. That will take you over to a video which will show you how to make the crossbody strap at the end of this video. Now, if you want to wait until the very end, a little pop-up video will pop up at the end, and it will be the shoulder strap, the crossbody strap, sorry. And then basically just click on that and it will take you from step by step on how to make your crossbody strap. So we're going to produce the handles and finish off the bag. So I've already gone ahead and actually made one of my straps. So as you can see, it's two-toned. Now in the pattern, I basically just tell you to interface the underlay, and if you've got PU, not to interface it, which I have done, which is the top part of the strap. However, I personally like quite a strong strap. So if you have in your stash somewhere some cotton webbing, but it's super thin, it's basically what you use in likes of making aprons or drawstring bags or something. If you've got some of that, you'll need it, I think it's, yeah, 3/4 inch wide. And then we're going to use that as our main stabilizer to make this really firm, but it's easy to sew through. If you have not got any of this in your stash, just go ahead and wherever I said PU, interface it. Just to give it that bit of extra oomph to make it strong. So the underlay piece, the cotton fabric, I have just gone ahead and prepped. So I have basically pressed the two long sides into the centre and given that a good press on the wrong side. And it's given me a nice little thin strip. That one has got interfacing on. So you also need your strap ends, because at the moment they are very raw edges, and I personally like to finish off my edges on my straps. You'll need the micro screws to go with those as well. You'll need some, definitely some quilter's tape if you're using PU. Now if you are using quilting weight cotton for the overlay, you would have already interfaced that. Go ahead and press it the exactly same way as the underlay. Bring the two edges into the centre on the wrong side and give it a good press. So I'm going to start making this. So you can either eyeball this, or you can basically draw a central line. So this measures 2 inches, so if you find the centre, which is 1 inch in, and draw a line along the edge, I'm just going to eyeball it. And you're going to run some, if you're going to use the method with the tape, the cotton webbing tape, you need to run two strips of wonder tape or wash away tape. in the centre. Okay, I'm going to peel off both of those back ends. Then you're going to get the tape, the webbing tape, and stick that right in the centre. And then trim off the excess. And then, you've guessed it, run quilter's tape on each of the edges of this webbing tape. Now if you have not opted for the webbing tape and you're just going to interface it, just stick the 2 rows of quilter's tape in the centre for this step. Okay, so you're going to peel off the one closest to you at the moment. And then you're going to bring this raw edge to the centre. So that's about there. And give it a good press down. Now if you find that it doesn't want to stick in certain areas, just pop a clip on it. Okay, and then you're going to flip it over and repeat the same on the other side. I've got a few areas that are coming off, so I'm just going to pop some clips. Okay, now you're just going to basically repeat the same. And bring that up into the centre. So the 2 edges should match and meet up. Definitely not sticking there. Okay, so you're just going to pop this to one side and we're just going to grab the underlay. Right, so with the wrong side pointing up, with the 2 edges meeting into the centre, we're just going to run quilter's tape along that centre. My quilter's tape is fallen to bits inside, so it's the heat. It's let's take that bit out. Definitely the heat isn't making it stick well. Okay, so we're going to peel off this backing tape. And then we're going to remove these clips from this overlay piece. We have to work pretty fast or else it'll come undone in these areas. So you're going to flip this so it's wrong side to wrong side, and you're going to match this up into the centre. Now the theory is you should have a little bit of the underlay peeking out either side. And you're just basically popping this in the centre and sticking it down. Now if it overhangs, that's fine, we're just going to trim it back. Okay, so it should have something like that, and it's got a little bit of an overhang each side. Right, so flip this over and you're going to go to your sewing machine and top stitch. Now I prefer doing 2 rows of top stitching either side. It means then it's caught both the underlay and the top lay together. So I start off on each edge 1/4 inch away. So that's the inner stitch lines I'm doing on this next bit. And then once I've done those 2, I do 1/8 inch away from the edges. I use a stitch length number 4 on my personal sewing machine. However, it could be a stitch length 3.5 on your sewing machine. So just have a quick play with some scrap and see if the stitches are even. So I've gone ahead and done that, and I've done both of them. The next thing you tend to do is make sure they're the correct length, as in matching each other. So mine's slightly off on the one, so I'm just going to trim it down to the one that is the shortest. For some reason mine was at an angle, so I'm going to have to trim both of them to match each other. That's it. Okay, so you're going to grab the bag, which I've stuffed out. Let's zoom out a bit. There you go. Okay, so we're going to work with the front handle first. Pop the back handle to one side. Okay, so you're going to pop it like this. And then you're going to flip it over and feed those 2 ends in. Then you're going to just roll that up a minute. That's temporary, by the way. You're going to fold it over and you're going to measure from the fold to the point 1 3/4. And you're going to clip that into place, like so. And you're going to do the same with this one here. Now you can do one of 2 things. If you have a rivet press or Chicago screws, you can do what I'm about to do, is punch some holes in and basically pop some screws in and or crunch those rivets into place. Or if you have no facility of doing those 2 things, you can sew as close as you can get to the rectangle ring across, making sure you reverse your stitches at the start and at the end, and use a large stitch length between 3.5 to 4 on both of those, and then basically we will finish off the ends. However, I'm going to basically pop some rivets in here. So I need to mark mine. I'm going 3/4 inches up. There. From the fold, and I'm making sure I'm in the centre as well. Make sure they're right. That one's off, so get rid of that one. Try again. Hey, there you go, I think it's there. Let's try that bit. Yep, that's perfect. So I'm just going to pop it like that and then punch some holes in it. Make sure your hole goes all the way through, which mine hasn't, however it's near enough there, so I'm just gonna get my tailor's awl and poke the tailor's awl through so I've got a hole. Repeat the same for this one. Oh, my part came undone. Once again, just poke that, finish that hole. Okay, and then I'm just going to get some rivets. Right, so with the rivets you will need some 9mm cap ones, so that's that little circle bit, and you need ones with a long post. So as you can see, I've got a long post here and a short post there. You need a long post. So I've got my long post rivets, my 9mm cap ones. I'm just going to pop that through that hole, making sure the post comes out through to the other side. And I'm just going to put my rivet over, my rivet cap, and I'm just going to do the same with this one. And then I'm just going to set these into place. Right, so I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the same for the handle on the back, and then I'll meet you at back here to do the strap ends. Okay, so I've got the two handles on and it's looking pretty neat at the moment, but I personally don't like these raw edges. Now if you can live with it, that's fine. Some people use what they use in the leather world, edge paint, which is basically, because with hand sewing leather bags together, you are left with a raw edge sometimes, so they cover it up with edge paint. Now some people use that. I personally still don't like doing that when there is fabric involved, as in like cotton fabric. So I like to seal off the ends, and I'm going to seal off the ends with these little end caps. So basically they've got two screw holes at the back. You get some micro screws with them, and it's got a little channel. You'll need 4. You also need some glue to be able to put into the channel. Now the glue that I'm using is a solvent glue. It's a stronger glue and will hold it into place rather than a PVA glue, which is the white glue that we used to put the pocket on earlier on in the video. So the way we do it is neaten off your ends. So if you have any little bits of thread hanging loose, trim those back on all 4. Then you're going to grab one of them and get your solvent glue, which is your Gutermann. You're just going to run a little bit inside. And in an ideal world you would let that go tacky, however I'm finding that my glue is actually going quite tacky fast because of the fact of the heat at the moment. So the screw side needs to go on the inside where the 2 fabric pieces are. So what you just end up doing is popping this into the channel, nice little push down, and what should happen is the end of the strap should meet at the bottom of this the channel. And then in those 2 holes you need to pop 2 screws. Now the screws have got little spikes on at the end, so they will screw through without you having to make a hole. I've got some micro screwdrivers which have got magnetic hold onto them, so it picks it up easier for me. And then you just basically screw that into place. Make sure it's nice and tight, and do the other one. Now some strap ends are different, so you might have a triangle point. It's the same theory, however you won't be able to push the strap all the way down. It should go down approximately around about 1/4 inch, just under 1/4 inch, as long as your strap is basically clear and past those 2 screw holes that are on the strap end. Now I'm just going to repeat the same for all 4, and then I'll meet you back. And then basically go ahead, once you've made the crossbody strap, click that on. I've gone ahead and made a webbing version because it's what the person actually wanted rather than the fabric version. So there's nothing stopping you doing the 1-inch webbing strap version. And basically your bag is finished. So you've finished making the bag. If you like this video, obviously give that thumbs up, and basically tune in next time. Oh, and join my club if you want to. See you soon.